Hello everyone, welcome to AWS Tutorials. In AWS Tutorials, we provide workshop and exercises to learn about AWS services. Today we are going to talk about how you can use AWS Glue connection to enable AWS Glue Job to make call to an API. Long time back, I do created another video on this topic, but that time I used dummy JDBC connection to get the job done. But recently, AWS launched a new feature inside Glue where you can create network type connection. And here I'm recreating the video using this new feature because this is what you should be using now. You should not be using dummy JDBC anymore. So I'm kind of recreating the same video to show you how you can use AWS Glue connection with AWS Glue Job to make call to an API. So just to give you a summary of API, summary of Glue Job. Glue is a managed ETL service where you can extract data from various sources like S3 or relational databases, transform it using languages like PySpark and Scala or Python, and then you can store it to destination again like S3 or any kind of JDBC endpoint, relational endpoint, or even NoSQL databases or DocumentDB, DynamoDB. It has started supporting a large number of sources and destinations. But there are scenarios when you want to call APIs from the Glue, and in such case where you want to actually call API, extract data from the API, and then transform and load. Though API is not a very ideal way to extract data for a simple reason, it is HTTP call and it is, big size of data could be a challenge. But sometimes people, and in fact most of the time I see people create very smart APIs where even if the data is very large, it supports paging mechanism where you can go, you can bring your data page by page. And then, in fact, you can use Glue Job to save each page as a separate partition, and that way you can bring data in. So a typical scenario is that you might have to sometime call an API to bring data in. Another example is where you might want to create a larger orchestration using Glue Job, where you will call some external third-party tool, ETL tool. And one such example I have seen where we had to orchestrate with Theobald, and in that case, Theobald provides API which Glue Job can call to actually orchestrate the ETL process. Not a very common scenario, but I thought I should mention it that you can use sometimes you can use Glue Job along with the workflow to orchestrate with your third-party tools as well, as long as those third-party tools supports API-based call to start the job. But in majority of the cases, you want to call APIs from the Glue Job when you want to extract data from the API and store to the destination. So let's understand the fundamental how this whole API calling work. So suppose you have an API which is either internet-based, on-premises, or AWS-based, and here is the Glue Job. You want to make call to this API. In order to make call to the API, first you need to have a VPC in between. Okay, you need to have one VPC in between and one subnet which has access to the API. So suppose in this case we are saying that this private subnet over here in the VPC has access to the API. What do you mean by it has access to the API? In very simple term, guys, if you launch one EC2 instance in this private subnet, that EC2 instance should be able to make call to the API. If that EC2 instance can make call to the API, you can say, yes, this private subnet has access to the API. Now, this VPC comes as a bridge between your Glue Job and an API. So you have a, say, private subnet like this, which has access to the API. Now you need an ENI, Elastic Network Interface, in this subnet, which Glue Job uses to make call to the API. So how do I create this ENI over here, which Glue Job can use? And for that, this glue connection is used. So you can use this network type glue connection, which will create this ENI in the private subnet, and then this glue job can use this ENI to make call to the API. So essentially, the way the whole flow works is that you create a glue connection, which will create an ENI inside a inside a subnet of your choice, not exactly a private subnet, it could be any type of subnet of your choice. As long as that subnet has connection to the API, then this glue job uses this glue connections to use this ENI to make call to the API. So that's how, at fundamental level, Glue job makes call to the API. Now, there could be multiple scenarios where you want to make call to the Glue job, and in that case, your whole network configuration changes. So I want to share some of the popular scenarios I have seen. So one of the scenario I have seen is your API is internet based, and in that case, and you have a glue job which has to call this internet-based API. And in this case, what happens is that you definitely introduce a VPC. We'll have at least one public and private subnet. Then you configure internet gateway and NAT gateway. And NAT gateway is this subnet is then private subnet is then associated with the NAT gateway, and that way private subnet get access to make external call. And then you use glue connection, network type glue connection to create ANI over here. And using glue job, you can make call to the internet-based API. That's a very simple scenario number one. And this is the scenario which we are going to try today in our workshop. Now, other scenario could be that your API is on premises. So your API is deployed somewhere into your corporate data center. Again, your flow does not change. Again, Glue job needs one private subnet where it can use connection to create an ANI, and this private subnet should have access to this API. Now, in order to make such communication where the private subnet in the AWS has access to the on-premises API, you need to create a connection in between. And this connection can either be created using, say, VPN. So you can have site-to-site VPN to establish such connection, or you might have direct connect. So some MPLS-based connection you might have. In that case, you can leverage that as well. But again, the most important thing is that if you are trying to call an on-premises based API, then you need to have a VPC with a private subnet, and this subnet should have connection to the API on-premises network, either through VPN or through direct connect. So that's the scenario number two, which I have seen very common in my experience. And third scenario, which is not so common, is where your API is within AWS, and actually it really simplifies the job. So for instance, here is my API, which is say running out of some container or EC2 instance, something like that. And I want to call this API. Again, the flow is the same. You create an ENI. If suppose this API is running out of this private subnet, you simply go and launch an ENI in this subnet, and then this ENI will provide connection to the API through to the Glue job. That could be scenario number one out of AWS-based call. Scenario number two could be that you have your API in a separate VPC altogether. So you might have a separate VPC where your, say, microservices are there, your APIs are there, and you might want to make a call from another account or another outside that VPC. So in that case, what you do is that actually you can, where you see that there are two VPC getting involved. Of course, these two VPC have to talk because you are creating your ENI over here, which then Glue job is using to make call to the API. And in such case, you need to go for VPC peering. So this kind of flow or scenario you might see in your experience, in your day-to-day work. The most important thing you will find in all this scenario is that you need to have one subnet, either private or public, which has connection to the API through some kind of connection. Either it's a peering or a VPC, or it's the same subnet, or it is a VPN or direct connect or internet based, I don't care. As long as that private subnet has connection to the API, using a glue connection of network type, actually you can create ANI in that subnet, and with that subnet, through that ANI, your glue job can make call to the API. That's how it works. So moving on, what we are going to build today is something internet-based call. So we are going to create a glue job which will make call to an dummy internet-based API. And for that, we will create a VPC with the public and private subnet. And then using glue connection of network type, we will launch ANI into private subnet, and then glue will use through connection that ANI to make call to the API, and then it will store the data inside S3 bucket just to demonstrate that it has made call to the API. So in order to implement this scenario, we have created a workshop, and this workshop has been uploaded to aws-dojo.com. I have also provided the URL of the workshop in the description box below. Now I'm going to walk you through the workshop step and explain how it works. And post that, you can use this URL to run this workshop at your own pace whenever you want. Okay, so it's available to you free of cost, and anytime you want to run it, play with it, work with it, yeah, you can do that. So let's jump to the workshop now. So here we go to the workshop, aws-dojo.com, and here is the workshop, and we click on, so we have already discussed the scenario over here, so I simply say I want to start the workshop, and it will open a new tab, and it will show you that these are the steps involved to complete the workshop. And let me walk you through the steps one. So all you have to do is simply follow the steps one by one, and you can get your job done. So let me go to the first step. And the first step is pretty straightforward, and that says that you need to have an AWS account in order to complete the workshop. And if you don't have AWS account, you might want to use this link to create one account, one trial account. Next one, as I mentioned earlier, that if you want to make Glue Job talk to an API, you will have to create a VPC in between. You have to need to have VPC where you have one subnet which has connection to the API. So in this case, we are going to create a VPC. So first we will by the way, this workshop we are doing in the Paris region, but you can do in any other region of your choice. So what we do here is that we first create an elastic IP. And why we create elastic IP? Because we want to create a NAT gateway, and NAT gateway needs elastic IP. So first we go to the in the VPCs, we go to the elastic IP and say I want to allocate a new elastic IP, and then this elastic IP, we simply allocate. Okay, we create. So once elastic IP has been created, now we go and click on this called Launch VPC Wizard. And in this case, we say I want to create a VPC which has got public and private subnet. And this is very interesting because all I need is public and private subnet. Private subnet so that I can make an outbound call to the internet, and public subnet because I want to use NAT gateway, internet gateway, and associate my NAT gateway with private subnet. So it asked me, okay, tell me the details, and I'm simply putting some VPC CIDR block. I'm putting a name called Glue VPC. Then I'm creating two subnets over here, one public subnet, and this is the CIDR range of the public subnet. And then I've got a private subnet, and this is the CIDR range of the private subnet. Then I'm saying, okay, NAT gateway needs one elastic IP, and I'm going to provide that elastic IP over here, which we created in the earlier step, and simply say, I want to create this VPC. It will take some time, and then it will create the whole VPC. So now you have a VPC, which then Glue Job can use as a way to talk to API. So next one is we create a Glue Job, and before we create a Glue Job, in fact, we need to create a role. So when we're trying to create a Glue Job or even use Glue connection, it needs certain role to authorize call to other AWS services. So first thing, we are going to create a role, IAM role, which Glue can use in general, like Glue Job or even Glue Connection can use. So we are simply going to IAM Management Console. We click on the roles, we want to create the role, and then on the permission, we simply give a blanket, a very high permission. So this is just for the demonstration, but if you want to use into production, you might want to give a very stringent and specific permissions to this role. Then we move on and say, hey, review, and then I want to give this role a name and call it Glue Job role, and then I create the role. So now my role has been created. Now we create an S3 bucket. So what we're doing in this scenario is that we'll create a Glue Job which will make call to an API, and whatever data it is extracted, it's going to store inside the S3 bucket. So that S3 bucket we are going to create. And this S3 bucket is also used to store the Glue Job script actually. So it's going to use for both storing the data of working as a destination for your Glue Job, and it will also store the script for your Glue Job. So here we go and create, go to S3 console and say I want to create a new bucket, and we call it Dojo Glue bucket. And then we simply say, hey, yeah, that's it. I mean, I just need to create a bucket, nothing more than that. Then we create the glue connection. Now comes the serious part of the whole workshop, where we create a glue connection. And this glue connection will actually create an ENI into the private subnet, which then will be used by Glue Job to make call to the API. So we go to the Glue console and say, I want to create a new connection. Say, click on Add Connection. And now you will find that there's a new connection type called network. Earlier, it was only JDBC and DynamoDB, if I'm not wrong. But now it has a lot new number of connection. What we are interested here is a network type connection, because all I want is an ENI which can give me connection to the API. So we simply give this connection name called Dojo connection. Connection type is a network type connection. Now it will ask, okay, where do you want to create this connection? And all it is asking me, where do you want me to create this ENI? And it's saying, in this Glue VPC, in this private subnet, simply create the ENI, and this is a security group. So this is a self-referencing security group. I mean, it really has, like this security group has permission to itself. So it really does not create any kind of security threat over here. And we simply use the default security group. So we select the default security group, private subnet, Glue VPC. And we simply finish the connection. We add the connection. Then you might want to test the connection to see if this connection is working properly. And in this case, you click on test connection, then you simply provide, this is the role I want to use to test the connection, this is the path I want to use and that's it, as a data store. And that's it. And then you click on the test connection. If you see a message saying that, it is successful, that means your test connection is working fine. That means your network connection is now set up. Now I'm all good to go and create a Glue Job which can use then this connection, and via this connection use the ENI to make API call. So next step is to go and create a Glue Job. And in order to do so, we go to, so this is by the way, this is the API I'm using over here. If I open it in a new tab over here, you can see here that it simply returns one, it's a sample API. You can use any other API if you want. It simply returns this kind of data here. So what I'm going to do over here is that I'm going to, this is the URL of the API we're going to call. So we simply go to the jobs. I want to add a new job, and then you start configuring your job. So the way you configure a job is they say, okay, this is the name of the job, this is the role, the IAM role you created for the job. I'm going to use a Python shell script for this job, and then I'm going to create a new script. So you're writing your own script. It's as simple as that. And then it says, okay, which path the script should be stored, and this is Dojo Glue bucket location you give. So this is a multi-purpose bucket here. It is used to store your data for a destination, and can also use to store the script of the job. Then on the next screen, it says, okay, fine. Do you want to use any connection? So you say, yeah, I want to use Dojo connection. And by selecting Dojo connection here, basically you are telling Glue Job that whatever ENI this Dojo connection is creating, you can use that ANI to make the call, the API call. Here you are associating actually your Glue job with the ENI. Okay, if you don't select this Dojo connection, Dojo job will have no idea how to call the API. So by selecting this connection over here, you're telling your Glue job that whatever ENI this connection is going to create, use that ENI to make call to the API. And then after that, you simply go and write the script. And script is, guys, very, very simple. I'm using this Boto 3 and request packages. So first of all, I make, this is the URL I showed you here. This is the URL which you use to make call to the API. So you're simply making a request call to the API, request.get. And then whatever r.text comes, whatever the output of the response comes out, that we are writing into Dojo Glue bucket with the object name mydata.txt. And before that, of course, we create this Boto 3 client. Okay, so S3 Boto 3 client we create, and then we simply say I want to put object what data r.text, which is the response of this this API call, which we just saw over here. This is the response we got, and then we are writing into this bucket and with this object name. And then you save this whole Glue job, simple Glue job, and then you simply select that Glue job and you want to run it. The job will start running. It will take a while before the job finishes. And when the job finishes, actually you can go to that S3 bucket, like Dojo Glue bucket, and you can see there's a mydata.txt file, mydata.txt file created over here. So this shows how your Glue job actually makes call to the API, extracts the data, and then writes to the S3 bucket as you have defined in the job script. Now, with this, you go to the next step and you clean up the resources because you don't want to incur any cost post this workshop. And that pretty much finishes the workshop, guys, where you learn how you can use Glue connection with Glue job to call an API using the new connection type, which is network type. Okay. Hope you like this video, and if you like, click on the like button. Please subscribe to my channel. There are many other workshop and exercises like this, which you can actually implement to learn about AWS services. These workshop and exercises are published to our website, aws-dojo.com. We always look forward to your feedback, be it you be critical about our content, or you provide some feedback, or you want to request for some new content, or you want to correct some of our mistakes. Yeah, any of those feedbacks if you have, either you can provide us in the YouTube comments channel, or you can also click on this contact us tab over here, and you can fill in the form there and provide us the feedback. So we always look forward to your feedback to decide what should go into the next content and how we should improve our content. So that is all for today, guys. Yeah, I promise to come back again with another video, another topic in the coming days. Meanwhile, stay safe and have a nice day. Bye-bye.